And if someone invited you here today, it's because they felt that there might be some value that you might be able to derive from this presentation today. My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure and privilege to be your host and moderator for this evening. Jeff Ashby is my co-host, and there are others who are supporting as co-hosts as well. Like, for example, Rob Martin is also acting as co-host, and that's it for today, this time. But today is Tuesday, and it's September the 27th, 2022, and it's about 7 minutes after 7 right now. I apologize for getting off to a slightly later start than we had planned. But the presentation that we do on a regular basis here centers around one constant theme, and that theme is that good health is a choice. And I strongly believe that good health is a choice. I believe that we can decide how we feel, and we can decide what our tomorrow will be. Now, it was Abraham Lincoln who said that a man feels about as good as he makes up his mind to be. Now, he was talking about disposition and attitude. And while I completely agree that disposition and attitude play a role, they play a role. There's no question about that. But it's a little bit more than just disposition and attitude is going to make the difference between how we feel today, because there are factors at work that work against how we feel that you have no control over. And that's what we want to talk about today. That's what we want to try to give you an edge. We want you to be able to alter your trajectory, the same way that NASA shot that rocket up there to hit that asteroid at 15,000 miles per hour. You don't have to shoot a rocket off, and you don't have to run 15,000 miles per hour into a rock, but you can now get access to the food that's missing from food. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Got a couple of stories that we want to share with you, first of all. So maybe, Jeff, can we show one of the testimonies?
Absolutely. I've got one that was shared a couple of it was last week, I believe, with George Black, and I just it's so classic. Just correct micronutrient deficiencies, and just sit back and see what the body is willing to do. Just amazing. So let me pull George here onto the screen. You'll just get a kick out of it. Let's see. Where do I have? There we go.
I'm happy to say, I'll start like this. I'm 76 years old. And Saturday, I've been married 55 years. And I've been a go-getter ever since I started working back in 1965. And I retired in 2008 and went back to work and retired again. And the honey-do list never stopped. I went back to work again. So I retired like 3 times. But one of the things that made me retire the last time was my left foot. I had to have reconstructive surgery on my foot and had to take bone out of my hip to put in my foot. But before that, in 2003, I fell with my left foot under my rear end, and I jerked all the muscle off the bone. And it took me 3 years to learn to walk again. So now, fast forward 3 years ago, when I had the surgery on my foot, it took me about 2 years to learn to walk again. Now, if I had the Micro Daily products, I probably still would be working. But Vicky, been knowing her for a long time. She was telling my wife about this stuff, and her and my wife got their heads together, and before we knew it, we had some product ordered. Well, sometimes when you're in excruciating pain, you will take anything. So I took the hydro. And the thing about this product, you don't have to take it for weeks and months and all this kind of stuff. If you take it for maybe 3 days, after 3 days, you're going to feel a little different. And so I took it for those 3 days. And my yard, I've got a pretty good sized front yard and backyard. And I have to think about it before I go out there to mow it. So I then took this hydro, and this lawnmower I have, it has the turtle mode and has the rabbit mode. Now, for 3 years, I've been cutting my grass with it in the turtle mode. I don't know what made me want to switch it to the rabbit mode. I did. I switched it to the rabbit mode and I kept up with it. I cut my front yard, I cut my backyard, I cut all the tall grass in my garden. I've done all the weed eating down the side of the driveway. And when I noticed anything, I was walking. I said, what's that laying in the grass over there? I looked and I didn't walk the sole slap off my shoe. So I had to pick up my sole and get it out of the way where I could finish doing what I was doing. And I told Vicky about it, and she came by the house and I showed it to her. She took a picture of it with my shoe done separated. So this stuff, it works. And the thing is, it's a lot of people that need this stuff. I mean, they need all of the products. But usually if you are young, you don't think about that you need any kind of help. But when you get a little older, you do need some product of some kind. But this is what they need. If it was taking this stuff, it would improve on everything. I was encouraged by the lady talking about the heart problem that she was having and injection fractures coming up, and she came off the Prasad and things like that. I'm waiting to see what my doctor's going to tell me about mine, because I have congestive heart failure also, and I suppose I've had a heart attack. But I'm encouraged by all this. And then the thing is, now with me taking the collagen, I can't seem to find the stop button. I got up this morning, my wife bought one of those rugs that you want to put on the dining room table. Move the table out of the way, put the rug down, it's all got ridges in it, got the steam back out, done that, got it all nice and flat. So I can't find the stop button. And I be thinking, hey, you're supposed to have a heart condition. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. But I feel good, and I just keep on going, and I don't want to work myself into early grave or a heart attack or anything. But to anybody that's curious about it, they need to go ahead and try it. I would like to just twist people's arm, the ones I know that need it, and make them take it, but you can't do it. So I just simply said I will take it. And if when people see me, they may wonder what I'm doing, and they may get curious, and if they ask, then I'll tell them.
Right. He's just so authentic, Jonathan. He just, he can't be more real. Can't be more real. He just wants to make him take it. I
love that story. That's a good one. Yeah. What did he say? He walked the sole slap off his shoe.
Slapped off his shoe.
Well,
just a fun one. I got another one here quick. Let me just share it. He mentions Vicky that he's really close to. So let me just pull this up here quick, because she's also got a pretty amazing experience. I think this is it.
When I met Beth years ago, she was so sick. I didn't know what to think. I thought she was leaving here. And when I reached out to her on behalf of someone else's loss, she sounds so good. And she started telling me about the the products. When I spoke with her, I was so impressed, and I couldn't sleep. But when I started taking the products, I noticed with taking the hydro, I had so much energy. I felt so much better. And for me, in 2020, I had a stroke. I wasn't able to work. I had so much brain fog. Anytime I drove, I would get lost. I would have to have people to help me in the conversation so that I would know exactly where I was in the conversation. But now we're taking the brain boost, the hydro, the eye products. I am so excited. I can speak to anyone, hold conversation. I can go any place I want to. I'm loving what God has put before us. Knowledge and wisdom that God has given man to bless us to have these products. I'm thankful for every testimony. I'm thankful for how good Beth looks, how she feels, and how she's caring about other people so that they can feel as good as she does. And I'm telling you, previously, months ago, I couldn't have a conversation like this. I would not know where I was in the conversation. I constantly had to call my husband and tell him I'm lost, I'm out, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. And this is places that I've driven for years. I even Googled one time how to put my wedding rings on. I forgot how to put them on. I'm so thankful, Jeff. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Thankful for this opportunity to share with other people that need to hear that God has something that will bless us, our health. Thanks, Beth.
Pretty amazing, Jonathan. I love being able to come on and just share some of these. We're in meetings just like this, little virtual in-home presentations. I think there was probably 8-9 people on, and Vicky and George, just salt of the earth type individuals, and you know that their hearts are just huge. They're out there just trying to help people one person at a time, like George. And I like the chat here says that's how I feel. I just want to make folks take this. So we can't make them. Jonathan, you're muted, or you got to poke your. There we go.
We're with them on that one. That you just want to make people take it, and find a way to get to them, and that's the reason why we're working so hard and having presentations like this. This is, not a day goes by now that someone in this company is not doing a presentation, Jeff.
I know.
It's pretty much every day. So for those who want to know about how Micro Daily works and what the company Engage Global has put together and what Dr. Prasad has formulated, the information is out there. The knowledge is available. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? And for those who may be here for just the first time now, maybe we could just take a couple of minutes and just tell you a little bit about the history of the product, where it came from, and how it is that we came to have this amazing product. Because we're not talking about something that is some miracle cure. There are lots of folks who believe that. And you just heard a couple of amazing testimonials. And by the way, just for the sake of legalities, everyone that's on the call now, please understand that testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. And we're right now talking about something. You see the title of this? Daily Nutrition to Live Your Best Life. There's nothing here that implies that that Micro Daily or any other products that we're talking about are a cure or treatment for any disease state. We're not making any claims that any of these products will treat or cure a disease. We're just talking about the food that's missing from our food. And the FDA has not evaluated any of these comments. But if you'd like any of the research material, any of the materials that's referenced, any of the articles referenced, then you can just check in the description below. on the recording of this this video. Once it's posted, you'll be able to see links to any other material that's referenced in this discussion. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. And I don't do anything I say just because I say it. Speak to your doctor. I am not a medical doctor. I'm just a researcher. That's all we do. But look at this. Daily nutrition. And please keep that in mind. Daily nutrition to live your best life. I have had folks say to me, how long am I going to have to take this? And I do sometimes scratch my head. And my next question is, how long do you plan to eat? When do you plan to stop eating? So just because you had enough food today, are you good for the next, what, week or two? It's daily nutrition. This is the food that's missing from our food. So it is something that we're missing every day. So the scene that we're looking at right now, maybe it's a eureka moment for that woman, but for most of us, that's exactly how it feels. It feels like we've actually found something that is pretty much amazing. The bottom part of the title there says the world's most scientifically validated micronutrient supplements. The world's most scientifically validated. And I used to think that that was hyperbole. I don't believe that anymore. I now believe that it has reached a level of scientific validation that is unique. And I hate to admit that I felt that that was hyperbole. I really did. You know, most scientifically validated? Most? You mean nothing else has been more scientifically validated? I now believe it's true because this stands in a different category than any other, mainly because of the way it started. See, this didn't start out as a group of men that got together and say, you know what can we sell? Let's figure out something we can put together that's unique and bring it to the market. No, it wasn't that at all. It all started because it was originally formulated for U.S. troops. That's what it was. It was called MMF, and that's what it looked like. It came in packages just like that, all designed for the military. The government wanted to provide a supplement that could be easily taken by soldiers on the battlefield and keep them in optimal health so that they could perform their duties. That was the original plan. Started back there in 2001, Department of Defense asked Dr. Prasad for help. Then you just fast forward a little bit. Animal studies were completed. Safety tests were completed. Human clinical trials were completed. And then there we are. Microdaily became available for the general public. For a number of years, it was only available to the military. It all started here with a request by the Department of Defense for a formula especially made for soldiers on the battlefield. The government had standards that they wanted met. Not just anyone could pass those standards. Every single vitamin company in the country backed away from that call. Nobody wanted to compete with Dr. Prasad in making this formula. Dr. Prasad said, no problem, I can do this. Dr. Prasad provided piles and piles of science that passed the Internal Review Board. He had to prove that his formula would not contraindicate with any known pharmaceutical drugs. No contraindications. Do you know how amazing that is? Do you know how many doctors will say, I don't want you taking anything that's going to interfere with my treatment. I don't want you taking anything that's going to interfere with my medication. Dr. Prasad had to prove to the government that it didn't contraindicate with any known pharmaceutical drugs. So that to me is just a beautiful thing in and of itself. I love that aspect of it. But just focus in for just a couple of minutes on this man, the man behind this entire process, Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad was the professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine for 30 years. He taught medicine at the University of Colorado. This man, member of the British Society of Medicine, this man became the world's first radiation biology PhD. So he decided he wanted to focus his attention on radiation. And he said once that when I interviewed him, he said, well, what inspired him was as a boy, he saw what happened with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And he said to himself, somebody really ought to come up with a medication that could help people in case there's another nuclear blast. So he set out to figure out how to do that. So his focus, radiation biology. He became the first in the world to focus on that. Since then, his products, his formulas have been awarded 7 US patents, and for various things. I'll show you one or two of them in just a couple of moments. But there's a couple of things that are my favorite aspects of what Dr. Prasad is and what he's done. And they're centered around these two things here. He is the man, he's the scientist who discovered the value of vitamin E succinate. There it is, vitamin E succinate. First of all, I didn't even know that there was more than one type of vitamin E, but he did. And not only did he know that, he's the one who found out that vitamin E succinate, oh, by the way, happens to be cytotoxic to cancer. Out of all the vitamin E's that there are, 6 or 7 of them, whatever they are, the one that has anti-cancer properties, Dr. Prasad, is the scientist that wrote the paper on it. He's the one that figured out that vitamin E succinate is cytotoxic to cancer cells. And I really just think that that's an amazing thing. We all know the benefits of vitamin E as one of the antioxidants. And if you have to have vitamin E, it's good for your skin and good for other things. If you have to have vitamin E in your body, it might as well be doing something else, like killing cancer cells. So I asked him when I met him first back in Atlanta, probably 7 or 8 years ago, was he implying, or no, not that he was saying or implying. I said to him, does that mean that your formula can cure or take care of glioblastoma? He said no. And I said, why? He said, because we can't get enough of the vitamin E succinate to cross the blood-brain barrier. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, but the amount that would have to get there to kill glioblastoma was insufficient. So that's part of the reason why, again, we make no claims about these products being a treatment or cure for any disease. But I'm here to tell you, as long as vitamin E's got to be crossing my blood-brain barrier, it needs to be get on up there and get busy. Find something that don't belong up there and take care of business as long as you're there. And I take a little bit extra micro daily just because and just in case. The other thing, though, this butyric acid business, Dr. Prasad is the guy that figured out that there were anti-cancer properties to butyric acid. And you don't know much about that right now, some of you anyway, but it has to do with fermentation of fibers in the gut. This is very closely related to the probiotic. It has to, it's all centered around the probiotic, thing that we also talk about. Though Dr. Prasad is the one that figured out that it had anti-cancer properties to it. And so finally he had a chance to put together the probiotic biotic boost. So think about that now. That's just 2 of the 250 plus peer-reviewed papers that Dr. Prasad wrote. One of the papers he wrote, we just discussed it with him this past weekend, was all about how micronutrients, I'm just going to abbreviate it, micronutrients impact COVID-19. And that's the title of the paper. So it's actually in the paper. So he wrote that back it was published in July of 2020. No, it was 2020. July 22nd, I think it was actually published, July 22nd of 2020. So that was about 6 or 7 months before the first vaccine was approved for emergency use. Dr. Prasad had already put his mind to it and was trying to figure out, is there a possibility that a micronutrient could make a difference? But as brilliant as Dr. Prasad is, he was not exactly rolling in dough. scientists tend to not be part of the wealthiest of people on the planet because they're busy doing what they do. They spend time in the laboratory and they're very intelligent. They get paid well, but they're not floating around in wealth. Well, that's where David Nemelka comes into the picture. Fortunately, David Nemelka had some deep pockets. He used his deep pockets, his resources, to secure ownership of the formulas and partnered with Dr. Prasad. The company Engage Global was born. That's about 10 years ago that actually, that relationship established itself. So we are right now sitting at the precipice, folks. We are in a 10-year-old startup company. That's where we are. So for those of you who are thinking a little bit outside the box and thinking besides the nutrition aspect of this, the health benefits of this, for anyone thinking, is there an opportunity here? The answer is yes. And if we have time, we may tell you a little bit more about that later. But just understand something, that this partnership that we're looking at right here is the reason why we have this product right here. You notice that it's no longer packaged like it's for the military. That one little package was a week's worth of product that they could put right inside their military fatigues on their thigh. So it wasn't a bottle that they were carrying around a month's supply. They had a week's supply right there in their Army fatigues. That's no longer necessary. So David Nemelka, Engage Global, put it in a bottle, and this is what we have, these green capsules. And they're vegan capsules, so they're vegetarian. And here's what's inside Micro Daily. So doesn't look like there's anything special there, except I just told you all about this one, vitamin E Succinate. But the only other thing on here that I want to tell you about that I think is really, really important is this one, N-acetylcysteine. And you can read all about it. Just take your time and do the research on N-acetylcysteine. And there's a gentleman who wrote more publications on the subject of glutathione than any published author in the world. And he has case study after case study after case study in his book, all using N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine raises glutathione levels in the lymphocytes. It raises lymphocytic glutathione levels. I remember having one situation with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was in the hospital dying from cancer. This goes back a number of years now, and quite a few years. So it's been 10 years yet. I lose track of time these days. But he was laying in the hospital dying, and he had decided to go completely conventional. So with the chemotherapy, it had really ravaged his body, and now he was having a terrible side effect of the pain medication, Dilaudid, and the chemotherapy. So his colon was pretty much not functioning. So there's just no movement, no nothing. So anyway, I spoke to Dr. Nkuzi, and Dr. Nkuzi came up with a cocktail, and sure enough, his colon started moving. There was doctors and nurses coming from all over the hospital. You wouldn't think that a bag of poop could make some people so excited, but they said that his bowels would never move. And Dr. Nkuzi said, oh, yes, they will. And people were coming from all over the hospital, and they were just marveling at this bag of poop that my brother-in-law had produced. But he was, he's pretty much unconscious at a certain point by the time we got there, because they pretty much figured he was 48 hours away from dying. But once his bowels moved, that changed. So I asked the doctor, they were sitting down talking to the family, and they said, they wanted us to be prepared for the fact that he was, pretty much, it was imminent now. So I said, well, so you guys are finished, right? There's nothing else you can do. They said, no, there's nothing else we can do. I said, well, to put our hearts and minds at ease, could you please give my brother-in-law some N-acetylcysteine? And one of the doctors arrogantly said, we don't have any natural stuff like that here. I said, well, no, I beg to differ. I think you do. I said, if someone came into the hospital with an acetaminophen and alcohol overdose, you would give them a treatment. There's a protocol for that. There's something that you would do. Could you just do me a favor? And whatever that is, could you put an IV bag of that in his arm? You're done anyway. won't hurt him, right? And they all looked at each other and said, why not? My brother-in-law woke up the next day. I mean, just completely conscious, completely, his hair was growing back like crazy. He was completely lucid. Do you know that they would not give him another treatment? They refused to give it to him again. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I'm saying all that to you to say this stuff is serious. N-acetylcysteine is serious. It raises glutathione in every cell in your body. Glutathione detoxifies your body. Glutathione is what removes free radicals from your body. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. It makes all these other antioxidants work better, every single one of them. And this one, alpha lipoic acid, has the nerve to recirculate this one. Well, glutathione. So it helps to recirculate glutathione in the body. And Dr. Prasad just told us last week that N-acetylcysteine binds to the spike protein in COVID. So that's another nice thing about N-acetylcysteine. So keep that in mind. That's the formula that Dr. Prasad put together, is this particular formula here. And before you say to yourself, I could just go to the health food store and buy those things, I have most of that in my cabinet already. Well, we've done the math. If you were to buy this, and if you could figure out the exact proportions to take it in, it would still cost you about $300 per month if you went and bought it on your own. But this bottle here costs less than $60 for a month's supply. So you can thank Dave Nemelka and Engage Global for that differential there. Now, doing all this would be very well worth $300 because it changed your life. It's worth $300 a month, to do that. But because of Engage Global and this relationship, it only costs about $60 a month for that formula. And this is the formula that the soldiers on the battlefield had. That's the difference. So this is the original formula that they had. Okay. And yes, Anthony, N-acetylcysteine is natural. To answer your question. So CQF standard, that's the seal. When you see this seal, you know that you've got quality. You know what? I want to show you something else, you guys, too, because just this past Sunday, Dr. Prasad said that there was a new study released that for the first time, they've done human clinical studies, and they proved that a multivitamin would have an impact on cognitive decline. So all before, they didn't admit to it. They all said it was kind of crazy. In fact, I went on PubMed to do the research because not that I questioned Dr. Prasad at all, I just hadn't seen it. So I went in and I did a search, and sure enough, back in 2018, they pretty much said definitively that there was no benefit whatsoever in mild cognitive impairment. No benefit whatsoever, micronutrients or multivitamins. There's no benefit whatsoever. But Dr. Prasad said that there was a recent study that showed otherwise. Well, I went and looked for it, and Dr. Prasad is 100% right. So I want to show you something before we talk about that CQF standard. Let me just switch over to that real quick, because I think you might find this interesting if my computer doesn't crash. Here's the article. It was published in, Prevention Magazine. And in Prevention magazines, they're making reference to this new study, right? Daily multivitamin use linked to improved brain function in older adults, study shows. Okay. Daily multivitamin use. Now we started this discussion with the words daily nutrition. Daily nutrition, the food that's missing from food. And now there's a study that says it's linked to improved brain function. So let's look at this. We're not going to spend time on this. In fact, if you want to, I was planning to do a deeper dive on this on this coming Sunday. So you're welcome to come back on Sunday at 5 o'clock. And this will be part of our focal point right here, but I want you to see something right here. Whoa, 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 I went too far. Look at this. How to choose the right multivitamin for you. You see that? Take a look at that. Yeah, it kind of got my juices flowing too. How to choose the right multivitamin for you. Considering taking a new vitamin or supplement? There's a range of reliability when it comes to vitamin brand. Look for a brand vetted as A-OK by an independent third party. Scan the label, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But here's what it says. You see the list? I'm getting flagged here that my system resources are low. So if my system resources tank on me, somebody take a screenshot and then just take over and read that list. Non-GMO organic, made of raw materials, allergen and gluten-free, free of heavy metals, chemicals, coloring, having certification of this, that, and the other. That's what they'd say you should look for. And guess what? Check, 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 check. Micro Daily. Micro Daily fits the bill completely. Everything they say there, except one more thing. This certification right here, the CQF standard. Nobody measures up this way. In fact, Dr. Prasad said he looked at all the vitamins in that study and he said none of them were of the quality, nearly the quality of what we put in Micro Daily. He said they got the wrong selenium and they got the this, got the that. And not a one of them has vitamin E succinate in it. And of course, they don't put N-acetylcysteine in it. But now there's a study, a clinical study that shows they did it on human trials proving that a multivitamin has an effect on cognitive function. Okay, so come back on Sunday and we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into that and connect that back to what Dr. Prasad shared with us this past Sunday. In case you fell asleep sometime during that discussion, I don't know if you fell asleep this past Sunday. Shame on you. You need some more Micro Daily and some brain boost. Bring some with you, because that was unbelievable what that man said to us this past weekend. Anyway, I get off my soapbox. I apologize. So this list right here, I'm not going to say much about this. I think you already know. This is the way our cells should look. This is what happens to them when we get slammed by free radicals. This equals disease. Okay? And disease is the same thing as a pen that doesn't work all the time. See, it's not, my pen is not at ease. It works when it wants to work. So that's how the body works when it's been slammed by free radicals. It's in distress, not a good thing. Okay? Why does your child need a micronutrient supplement? Very simple, for the same reasons that all of us need micronutrient supplementation, because our food is missing food. That's it. And Dr. Prasad made a gummy that's good for children, and he based it on his best formula, the Micro Daily EMF. The children's gummy is based on the best formula, the Micro Daily EMF. Before you ask the question, what's the difference between the original formula and this one right here? Don't ask the question. I'm going to tell you, because I know that's what you're thinking. Just read right over here. 5G technology has come into existence. The world's first radiation biology PhD, Dr. Prasad, decided that something more was needed, because 5G is 700 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. And we're all being slammed by 5G right now. Even if you don't have a 5G phone, it's everywhere. I'm in my mother-in-law's house right now, and all you have to do is say, "Hey, Alexa, turn on my lights." And the lights in the hallway turn on. "Hey, Alexa, turn on the lights in the kitchen." Because my mother-in-law is legally blind. So they had to put all this technology in so she can just say it and the lights and stuff will turn on. And it gives her the ability to at least navigate and go where she needs to go without, falling down and dying. 5G everywhere. And even if Alexa was not in the house, the Wi-Fi brings all of this extra 5G technology. into the house. And even if you don't have a cell phone, even if you don't have internet in your house, it's in the air. We're being slammed. Everybody's being slammed with 5G technology right now. 700 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. And if you're on this discussion call right now, you remember when the first cell phones came out. They called them bricks. Well, the one before that brick was in your car, it would be like sitting on a microwave oven. And 5G is 700 times more powerful than the original cell phone technology. Just wrap your mind around that. So that's why the EMF formula is the best formula. That's the one that I take. That's the one that my wife takes. I take double doses personally because I think that I'm worth it. But I take double doses. Instead of taking 3 twice a day, I take 6 twice a day. That's the one I take. I keep it right here on my desk so I don't lose it. I call this my desk, but it's the dining room, and I commandeered it as my office. I got green screen behind me and a light here, so I'm all set up. I'm at my mother-in-law's house. We were supposed to be here for just a few months. Now I'm hoping we get out of here before November. So I'm working on a project in the basement. That's what's slowing things down a little bit. So at least that's my excuse. So anyway, that's the story. Okay. This to me is the best one. So if your budget can bear it, and if you think you're worth it, then you should make sure that you go to the best one, the Micro Daily EMF version. And also, we'll show you this in just a second. We're on the CBD page right now. I take 3 of those at night, and it puts me in the REM, deep in the REM. I hear nothing going on. My wife is working as caregiver right now, so every other night or every couple of nights, she's got to get up and take care of my mother-in-law. So at the beginning, I'd have to wake up almost every time she woke up, the slightest movement. Now, bell can go off, Alexa can be screaming, alarm can be going off. I got 3 of those in me. I'm out. I'm done. So I don't have any problem with my sleep being disturbed at night. So I highly recommend that if you're thinking about something for extra sleep, that CBD is the way to go. Come on, computer, behave yourself now. We got this company around, behave yourself. Okay, so, and by the way, CBD, if it's extracted from marijuana, is illegal because it has THC in it. But CBD that's extracted from hemp is not. It has no THC. THC is the psychotropic part of the cannabis plant. That's what makes it illegal, is because of that. But hemp is totally legal in this country, okay? But it's marijuana that is illegal in this country. Then there's the methylated form of Micro Daily. This is between the green bottle and the red bottle. This is a step up. So the green bottle was the original. The purple bottle is 1 step up. The red bottle is 2 steps up. The Micro Daily Hydro is based on the same formula as the green bottle. They all have their purpose. It all depends on you and your particular appetite and your particular temperature and your particular how much you value yourself is the way I like to look at it. And I didn't have much to say about Brain Boost in the past because I would take 1 of them twice a day, and because I wasn't suffering from brain fog. And by the way, this was written long before this whole COVID brain thing came along. So I didn't have any fog, so it didn't really do much for me. But being in a different situation, under a lot of stress, in my mother-in-law's house, I'm not at home. I'm here longer than I planned to be and trying to get a lot of things done in a short period of time, and I can smell winter coming. I do not want to be here in the winter time. And yes, it's giving me the heebie-jeebies. So my stress level started going up. And I found myself saying, how can I get all this stuff done? Just a couple of days ago, I decided, you know what, let me double up on this Brain Boost. I could not believe it. It was like somebody gave me a double shot of espresso. And I said, boy, this has been the best kept secret. So I text Jeff right away. And I fussed with Jeff. I couldn't believe it. I said, man, what else have you been holding back? You know, because he says, oh, yeah, me and Helen, we've been taking 2 twice a day for years now. Yeah. I'm happy you and Helen been taking 2. for years. And I didn't bother to tell them. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry, excuse me. So, but the brain boost is really good. So take 2 twice a day. If you don't feel it with the 1, take the 2. And Dr. Prasad said it doesn't hurt. And I've also done the same thing with the eye boost. I stepped outside today. I could not believe the clarity that I was seeing. And so we'll see. We'll see what it does down the road for me. But I'm taking 2 of those eye boosts twice a day. Twice a day. Yeah, I'm going to call you out, Jeff. I'm going to tell everybody about you. That's right. I'm going to tell everybody what you did to me. Yep, should have told me earlier. I can't believe it. Made me walking around with a cloud on my head. Okay, now last thing I'm going to tell you about is these 2 little bunny rabbits. Okay, that's the only thing we're on this page for. This is 2 little bunny rabbits, and maybe one other thing. 2 little bunny rabbits right here. So look on the left side of the page, right here, and in the name of science, these 2 bunny rabbits made the ultimate sacrifice. They took a trip to NASA, and NASA is the only place that legally has massive amounts of radiation. And these 2 little bunny rabbits had their last meal. Good food, probably some high quality lettuce and maybe their favorite celery and a carrot or 2, right? So I'm hoping they were organic. Either way, they had their last meals. Have a guess which one, they both had food. So bunny number 1 had food and bunny number 2 had food. But have a guess as to which one of them also had the food that's missing from food. Have a guess. Because see, this is their lungs. These are pictures of their lungs right here. One of them looks like he's been smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. The other one, not so much. They both died because, as I told you, they were both slammed with lethal doses of radiation. Lethal means deadly. So it was with the intent to kill. You can't do that with a human. See, it's kind of against the law to experiment on a human with lethal doses of radiation, even though you get MRIs, CAT scans, and x-rays all day long, every day. It's against the law to be slammed with lethal doses of radiation with an intent to kill. But with these rabbits, they did that. Did you guess number 2 is the one that got the food that's missing from food? If you guessed number 2 got the food that's missing from food, then you're right. And then see if you can connect the dots. What would you want in your body if you were being slammed by lethal doses of radiation? I'm not calling this lethal doses of radiation. The World Health Organization is calling this lethal doses of radiation. Just look it up. Go to the World Health Organization and see it for yourself. Their cell phones are in the same category as cigarettes. Known carcinogen. Oh, no. Oh, did they say probable carcinogen? I think that's the way they put it, was probable carcinogen. So if you're being slammed by lethal doses of radiation, you just ask yourself, how do you want your lungs to look? How would you want your cells to look in your body? And there it is. Bunny number 1 or bunny number 2. Just remember that. Remember that when you're trying to say to yourself that these vitamins are too expensive. Not true at all. And how did this happen? Why is this the case? Over here on the right side of the page, I told you that's the only thing I was going to talk about, but I got to show you one more thing before we switch over and take your questions. Or Jeff's got another story he wants to share with us. Oh, right here. Here it is. This one right there. Okay. Look at that one. That's one of the patents. And it says its use of multiple antioxidant micronutrients as systemic biological radioprotective agents against potential ionizing radiation risk. Now, I know that sounded like a mouthful there, but what they say in there is that this right here, this is the part you want to see, DNA repair. So look over there and you'll see it. DNA repair and protection and repair. I said it backwards, a little dyslexic today. I'm late for my second dose of brain boost. So DNA protection and repair. There it is. So they measured it and they actually found that in 48 hours, they were able to measure 100% DNA repair after a person had been exposed to low dose ionized radiation. There it is. So again, ask yourself the question, how often should I take this stuff? Every single day we're being slammed by radiation. And if your cells that have been damaged by radiation can be being repaired every 48 hours, 100% repaired every 48 hours, can you afford to skip a week? Can you afford to skip a day on something like this? This is the food that's missing from our food. You leave a gap, and all it takes is one cell that gets to slip past your immune system to become a tumor. All it takes is one. So that's the reason why I say you want to make sure that you keep this product in your body. There it is. There it is. I'm going to transition now to the other part of our discussion. Why are you not moving, screen? There. I just want to show you real quickly the list of Dr. Prasad's publications. So this is the list of all the books this man has written. And that first screen early on, we said that he wrote 29 books, but it says 29, but he's actually written 32 books. He just released his 32nd book. It's about dementia and memory loss. So there it is, dementia, memory loss, Dr. Prasad's book. And look at the brain, look at it. One of these has been eating the food that's missing from food. Somebody's brain on here has been getting the food that's missing from food. One has not. You can figure it out. There it is. So, Jeff, are you still with us, or did you run after you didn't tell me about the brain boost?
No, I'm absolutely here.
Still here.
Just, you know what? We're worth it, Jonathan.
Yeah.
You know, we know what it takes to feel better, and we're worth it. So we just lean into it, and like you, and I have to give credit where credit is due. We're doing 6 micro daily in the morning, micro daily EMF, and 6 at night. It's 6 at night. So you know what? You didn't share that with me.
All right, I did.
You just shared with me that you're doing 3 CBD at night, and it's like, well, we're only doing 2 in the morning and 2 at night. So I'm gonna see if I can't sleep like the dead, like you're suggesting.
Comatose. I'm telling you right now. I don't wake until I'm done sleeping, buddy.
Well, that's what we pride ourselves in. We sleep until we're done.
I just got I got this message in the chat. Who's that? Rita? She says, I was talking about Alexa. She says, her Alexa, turn on the lights in the house. I'm sorry, Rita. I didn't mean to make your lights turn on. That's hilarious. See, 5G is everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay, so we already saw two testimonials today, though, right, Jeff? Yeah,
Yes.
another one you want to slip in there?
I'm good. They just got to show up on Thursday. You know what?
Okay. Well, those two were actually absolutely perfect and phenomenal. So thank you very much for sharing them. So for those who are available on Thursday, we'll be back here again at 6 o'clock. So you're more than welcome to join us again. And Sundays at 5 o'clock, same Zoom information and same password. Nothing changes. So Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 7 p.m., 6 p.m., 5 p.m., respectively, all Eastern Standard Time. And then there's Lunch and Learn, Monday through Friday, Dr. Roberts. Wonderful program. 12 o'clock, noon, Eastern Standard Time. The Zoom information is in the chat. So you just copy that and paste it, and you've got full access to that. Okay? So this is going to bring our presentation to an end. Remember, folks, this has been for information and educational purposes solamente. That's all this is. Nothing that's been presented here is meant to be a substitute for visit your primary healthcare physician. I'm not a doctor. Jeff is not a doctor. We're not making any claims that Micro Daily or any other products that we talked about will treat or cure any disease state. We are only telling you about the food that's missing from food. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you.